clock spinning, but I pin it with these hands. Can I make it out of this? I'm taking weight up out of it, but ain't no way that I can. Man,
I walk the other side of boulevards and broken dreams. I covered up the pride, but deep inside it's hide and seek. Deep down I'm trying to find that peace of mind, some certainty. I saw the reasons why up on a sign that's passing me. I lost the best of myself.
It's Monday. You know what that means. What's going on, Hilltop Mafia? It's Wally Knox Hill. We're back with our breakdown series. So today, man, listen, I jumped the line. And this past weekend, I broke down Sleep Token's Caramel. And I've genuinely been enjoying this journey so far. And the lyricism and the layering. So I thought, you know what? Let's dive in this Metal Mondays back into Sleep Token. Let's see what else they got in the discography. So right here, right now, it's none other than Take Me Back to Eden. But before I get any further, listen, if you like the song, the intro, yes, I'm an artist myself. If you like what you heard, if you want to support the channel, I'm 100% independent. I put a lot into my art. I put a lot into my messaging. That song means a lot to me. It's called Best of Myself. If you want to check it out, I'll put all links down there. But anyways, know what we're here for. Sleep Token, sub to the plate. Let's see what you got. All the animal noises like we're out in the jungle somewhere, or the Garden of Eden. Take me back to Eden. Angel's wings.
I dream in phosphorescence, bleed through spaces, see you drifting past the fall, but no one told you where to go.
Remember how I've talked about this this sort of yin and yang, this Gemini dichotomy, right? The light and the dark. And for me, it's best reflected and represented through this image, which is very powerful to me, the silhouette, right? You see the angel's wings, but then you see the scythe of the reaper, right? But death, and then you even think of like darkness, the devil once fell from heaven, was once an angel. So you have this tie-in in the reaper with angel's wings. And just that walking of darkness and light together. And again, amazing singing. And I want to bring it back and once more appreciate the lyricism that really goes into this writing. So haunting, man. I love how this just like transports us to a different place, like immediately, just with the sounds, like all the animal noises in the back of the mix. It just feels just feral, wild.
I dream in phosphorescence, bleed through spaces.
I dream in phosphorescence, bleed through spaces. Like literally bleeding because I'm bearing it all out, right? And like I'm going through suffering. But then also when something bleeds through a space. If you think about phosphorescent lighting, right? Phosphorescent lighting absorbs an energy, right? And then eventually emits the light. And then once you remove that energy source, phosphorescent lighting will continue. It will carry on. So for me, I dream in this. I dream in this powerful, pulsating color. But bleeding through spaces, to me, I interpret that as like life is but a dream within a dream. I feel like I'm in a waking dream right now. I don't know what's reality and what's surreal. That's how I interpret those lines. I think it's very cleverly put, much in the same way that phosphorescent lighting will bleed through and carry on. So just that double writing between literally bleeding and then bleeding through a space. Smooth.
I dream
Even there, you know, drifting past the fog, you think about the illustrative picture that paints of like a figure in the fog, but also like memory fog or brain fog as well. Just again, clever double writing.
The fall, but no one told you where to go.
No one told you where to go. Tie back to the Garden of Eden for me. When Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden for, you know, eating the forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge, they were then kicked out. They didn't know where to go.
Told you where to go. We dive through crystal waters, perfect oceans, but no one told me not to breathe. And now the weightlessness recedes.
I just take this almost surrealistic dreamlike state of floating, right? Diving through the ocean and the oceans of the mind, right? And the surreal and diving deeper, telling me not to breathe. And you feel this weightlessness, like when you're floating in water, but also just this ethereal weightlessness at the same time, right? Just something transcending here. What was that? There was just a little growl, predator growl right there. It just got very sinister for a second. That's the first time I think we've heard like a real predator noise through these animal noises. Almost growls like the bass line.
Mama, those eyes like fire. I'm a winged insect. You're a funeral pyre. Come now, bite through these wires. I'm a waking hell, and the gods grow tired. Reset my patient violence along both lines of a pathway higher. Grow back your sharpest teeth. You know my desire. I will travel far beyond the path of reason. Take me back to Eden. Take me back to Eden.
Wow. Wow, a couple things there. Was that him? Just going into that higher range? That almost sounded like a female voice coming in there. But for me, he had lines about walking a higher path. And that transcendence that I'm talking about literally just kind of happened there. It felt like we were transcending for a moment. But it almost reels you in. I love what Sleep Token does because you never know what's around the corner. Right? Just in terms of the musicality, because we just get lulled almost into this just enchanting sort of sense of security, right? Through these lyrics and through everything just being kind of down here in the moment, very atmospheric. And then just out of nowhere, it's almost like we've been awakened from this dream. We were in a dreamlike state, and then reality just shakes us and wakes us up. And that's when the percussion comes in. That's when you get the electric guitars. That's when you just get this violent upheaval. And to me, that's a perfect reflection. Take me back to Eden, right? I think that Eden is that dreamlike state. And think about what Eden represented to Adam and Eve. You know, Eden was before original sin. Eden was a paradise. And for many of us, it can be a metaphor for that childhood innocence, right? And then eventually, as you get older into adulthood and the cares and the realities of the world come in, you know, we all pine to go back in time to the ideological good old days for us when things were a lot simpler. We all pine for our own version of an Eden, really before the sins and the burdens of adulthood came into existence. And then for me as well, hang on, my daughter's playing outside and she's waving to me. I'm recorded. Bye. Those eyes burn like fire. For me, this is the duality of the writing here, because it's not just that want of innocence and that want to this days of nostalgia. For me, for this speaker, this other person, eyes burning like fire, that's passion to me. That's love. And perhaps this is wanting to go back to the days of the romance when it was more innocent, before obviously something happened and something darker twisted it and separated it. And we want to reconnect to that. And like a moth to a funeral pyre representing just death, burning, right? But a moth to a flame will be attracted to it. And maybe this is a toxic, very self-destructive relationship, but he still is misrepresenting it because he wants to go back to that nostalgia, to that point before that. And he knows it's probably not good for him. And he knows that it's self-destructive, like a moth to the flames. But he can't help it. He wants to go there anyways. And even the fire and the burning, we talked about Eden, the religious symbolism as well, the sin, fires being like hell. I'm awaking hell and the gods grow tired. This whole sleep and then waking, now walking through the gods grow tired of my torment and my hell. And remember the fires to hell and bite through these wires, these entrapments that I have. For me, there's always this want for release that I get from Sleeptopian. There's just this angst and this just feeling like so much is happening beneath the surface, and eventually there's a breaking point and there's this want to rise up from it all. Redemption, we've talked about this. Along both lines of a pathway higher. Grow back your sharpest teeth, you know my desire. Grow back your sharpest teeth, you know what I desire. Again, like the moth to the funeral pyre. Like, she's almost like a monster, a demoness, right? And there's just this enchantment with it, knowing that you're walking into danger, but you still want to give in to those passions anyways. And then the teeth for me goes even deeper, because obviously teeth biting in to the apple, which created the whole situation in the Garden of Eden. Best teeth, you know my desire. All will travel far beyond the path of reason. And that's it. You know my desire. I'll travel beyond reason. I'm not giving in to the reasonable, logical mind and that side of things. I'm giving in to the lust. I'm giving in to the emotional. Much in the same way in the Garden of Eden, by biting that apple, right? They threw away the logic and the reason that was given to them, and they gave in to their passions and desires, and sin entered into the world. Take me back to Eden. Take me back to Eden. It's like wind in the mix almost, a ghost in it. Sinister. Well, yeah, I spit blood when I wake up. Sink porcelain stain, choking up brain matter and makeup. Just 2 days since the mainframe went down and I'm
still messed up. Room feels like a meat freezer, I dangling like cold cuts. Missed calls, answer phones from people I just don't trust. Mirror talk, fake love, but I'll take a pound of your flesh before you take a piece of my pay stub. White roses, black doves, godmother, rise up. I need you to see me for what I have become.
What did the rap switch up just happen here? I like this, man. I like this. Definitely has a rap vibe and flow to it.
Well, yeah, I spit blood when I wake up. Sing porcelain stain, choking up brain.
I spit blood when I wake up. Again, there's this sleeping and this waking, this dreaming and this surreal and wanting to go back to that. It's almost that dreamlike state. And for me, spitting blood, again, he knows the danger. But since we know there's a relationship too in that duality of writing, I feel like waking up from the relationship and now spitting blood because once more he's been affected by the toxicity of that relationship.
I spit blood when I wake up. Sing porcelain stain, choking up brain matter and makeup. Just
porcelain strain, choking up brain. I just love the rhyme patterns.
Wake up, sing porcelain stain, choking up brain matter and makeup. Just
choking up brain matter because this is all happening in my head as I'm choking it all up and makeup as well. Her makeup.
2 days since the mainframe went down and I'm still messed up.
Since the mainframe went down, could be since the relationship ended, since my brain and my mainframe just got totally scrambled from all this. Because again, verse 1 sets up this wanting to go back and knowing that it's dangerous for him. And now this feels like the aftermath, the second verse.
Just 2 days since the mainframe went down and I'm still messed up. Room feels like a meat freezer, I dangling like cold cuts. Missed calls, answer phones from people I
room, meat freezer, dangling like cold cuts. That's a bar.
I dangling like cold cuts. Missed calls, answer phones from people I just don't trust. Mirror talk, fake love, but I'll take a pound of your flesh before you take a piece of my pay stub.
Mirror talk, fake love. Looking at yourself in the mirror, you got this, you could do this. I believe in you, but really it's fake love. That's insecurity right there, right?
Missed calls, answer phones from people I just don't trust. Mirror talk, fake love, but I'll take a pound of your flesh before you take a piece of my pay stub.
I'll take a pound of your flesh, right? Before you take a piece of my pay stub. Makes me think of just the classic story of taking a pound of flesh and the debt collector, right? When you couldn't pay. And then a pound of flesh was taken instead. And that's been used throughout film, through the years, throughout different forms of art, right? But I will take a pound of your flesh this time. And for me, again, back to the Adam and Eve, pound of flesh, the sin, realizing the flesh, they were naked after they ate from the apple. They realized they needed to be clothed. So there's that lust, that desire, that flesh tying in of mortal man once more.
Fake love, but I'll take a pound of your flesh before you take a piece of my pay stub.
Before you take a piece of my pay stub, before you take my sense and what's going on and what I value and matters to me, right? And this could be tit for tat. This could again be tying back to the toxicity of the relationship as well.
Fake love, but I'll take a pound of your flesh before you take a piece of my pay stub. White roses, black doves,
white roses, black doves, white roses, innocence, Eden, nostalgia, black doves, grim reaper, death, darkness, danger.
Mother, rise up, I need you to see me for what I have become. My mind, those eyes like fire, I'm a winged insect, you're a funeral pyre. Come now, bite through these wires, I'm a waking hell and the gods grow tired. Reset my patient violence along both lines of a pathway higher.
Reset my patient violence. What a way to describe violence. Violence is fun, isn't it? To both, was it both sides?
Along both lines of a pathway higher.
Along both lines of a pathway. I take it as a road, you know, 2 lines on a road or even down the middle. Like, don't cross, be careful, right? Because when it's 2 together versus the dots, you can pass. So don't pass in this case. Could be. But also trying to walk a higher path, proverbially, morally trying to stay on a higher path.
Lines of a pathway higher. Grow back your sharpest teeth, you know my desire.
Okay, now piano. Love it.
I guess it goes to show, does it not, that we've no idea what we've got until we lose it. And no amount of love will keep it around if we don't choose it. And I don't know what's got its teeth in me, but I'm about to bite back in anger. No amount of self-absorbed fury will bring back the glory of innocence.
Dad time, I gotta deal with something. Sorry about that. Anyways, one of the things that I really appreciated here was that piano just, again, this sort of false sense of security, just lulling you in, reeling you in, and then kind of pushing you away and elevating it. And the pianos, just the melodies mixed with that more aggressive tension with the guitars and the percussion. And then obviously the lyricism. Let's break some of this down.
I guess it goes to show, does it not, that we've no idea what we've got until we lose it.
Said everyone in a post breakup that regrets it and wants to go back to the relationship, right? You don't know what you got until it's gone.
And no amount of love will keep it.
But again, think about Garden of Eden, right? Adam and Eve, after they were kicked out of the garden, that regret, not knowing what you had until it's gone.
And no amount of love will keep it around if we don't choose it.
No amount of love will keep it around if we don't choose it. Value what you have when it's here. Don't wait until it's gone. Love those words. And that's wisdom.
And I don't know what's got its teeth in me, but I'm about to bite back in anger. No amount of self-absorbed fury will bring back the glory of innocence.
No amount of self-sought fury will bring back the glory of innocence. Again, wanting to go back to the Garden of Eden. And we've talked about these themes and how this lyricism just kind of brings it all back around full circle. And I love how you just see like this darkness, this blackness at the roots, this sort of decay at the core almost that just keeps leaking through. And then he had more lines again with like the teeth and biting back and anger. And again, just a lot of the symbolism with the teeth and biting back, revenge, anger, fury, but also still biting into the apple.
Come now, fight through these wires. I'm awakening.
That was intense to end it. He warned he was going to let his anger loose, and I think he did there at the end. And there was the metal we were waiting for. You never know when it's coming, but I love how, obviously, we gave into it all, right? The blackness, the wrath, the sin overtook everything else. There was a really dope line. Tangled like branches in the... I can't hear the other word. Hang on, I want to look this one up. Tangled like branches in a flood. I love that because, again, that's one of those almost like... It's like a Valentine's Day card sentiment, right? Like, me without you is like 90 degrees. We just form all the right angles. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those that's supposed to have like a beautiful sentiment. Like, we were tangled together. But think about branches in a flood. It's in the middle of a disaster. Right? So we're tangled amidst this chaos and disaster. So it's not a beautiful sentiment. It feels like it's meant to be, but underneath, again, there's that toxicity. There's that love mirrored with obsession, mirrored with something that's dangerous, right? And that sort of duality is well represented throughout this song through that line right there. Love that. This is just a hell of a just shake you awake ending. Or maybe go back to sleep. Take me back to Eden, right? I don't want to be awake and face these realities. And the more I learn about Sleep Token, they are like gods, right? So maybe these gods want to go back to those days. Yeah. Look, I've said it before, like my channel and my breakdowns are only as good as the layers that I'm given from the artist. And I'm so glad that I've started to dive more into Sleep Token because I'm genuinely enjoying this journey and just enjoying the lyricism and the depth and the symbolism. And then for me, the musicality of it all too, because it's not just one genre. You had a rap switch in there. You had beautiful singing. Right? You had the pianos, you had things scaled back. Then you have the metal and the screaming at the end and the rock. And you just never know what path you're going to take. They always keep you on the edge of your seat and they keep things really interesting. And they're not afraid to push their art forward. And I love that the devil is in the details. Everything has a lot of thought behind it. And it's a beautiful journey that we're on so far. It's also wild and fucking chaotic at the same time. Sleep Token, you were Knox Hill certified. Hope you guys liked today's video. Listen for some reason here at the end. Obviously enjoy the content. Do me a huge favor. Support the channel directly. Subscribe, notifications on. Really does go a long way. Also, don't forget to copy your merch. knoxhillmusic.com. We got hats, we got shirts, we got hoodies, everything you need. If you want to support, if you want to rep the brand, it all helps. It all goes a long way. I'll put all links down there. All right, everyone. Stay safe, stay positive. Take care of these. Take care of these. I'll catch you again.
Sit down, sit down. I'm like, wow, how we do it like that? Like, wow, how we do it like that? Like, wow, how we do it like that? Like,